This is a £2,500 extractor fan, and it's going to be installed right above my range cooker. This is the part where you get a bit nervous because it's a big hole and there's no going back. The first challenge is drilling a 150mm hole through solid brick. Second is building a solid structure that looks as premium as the kitchen around it and the extractor itself. And the third is the challenges of getting it all into place.
You need more support, you need to get it on something.
If you like building, renovating, fixing or DIYing anything, then you are in the right spot. I'm Scott DIY, and in this video, I'm going to be making a bespoke extractor hood. This is something that I've wanted to do for absolutely ages. I know it's going to transform my kitchen, but I don't want to do it like everybody else has done it online. Mine's going to be a little bit special, so let's get into the build. I really am hoping that on the other side of there isn't any pipes. That beam in the ceiling is where the original house ends. So if I measure from there on the outside of the house, I should have a good idea of where I can and can't drill. And by the looks of it, I should just be far enough away from the stench pipe. That is not something I want to drill into. Because I built the whole construction of this wall, I know exactly where the cables are. There's a cable coming down to there. So that area should have nothing in it. Now it's time to get the big rig out. And that's what I call a core drill. I'll put the name of all this kit on the screen, so if you want to rent something like this for one of your projects, you can find it really easily. I'm really pushing myself out of my comfort zone here. I've never used a tool like this before, and I know it's big and it's powerful. It just made everything seem a lot easier, more precision, more professional. I've decided to take it higher because it will look better outside and it gives me more room if I have a flexible ducting. Trust me when I say it is nerve-wracking starting one of these up. It's a very loud, very powerful machine. You can get a centre bit which helps guide this whole drill through the plaster, through the wall, exactly where you want it. I don't know why, but I didn't use it, and it made getting through the plaster initially a lot more difficult. So basically, don't do what I did. And you'll notice, of course, that I started drilling and realised I would have hit a batten. So I decided to move over slightly to the right so I would avoid drilling through that as well. And you'll see that I've got a pipe hanging off this core drill. That's just to suck all of the dust away through the center of the core drill. So if you can hire one of these at the same time, I would definitely recommend it. You've just got to make sure it doesn't get blocked like mine has here. The plasterboard has gone inside the core drill and it's stopping the suction, taking the dust away. And I'm pushing on the rig and the core drill itself to make sure that both of them are moving forward. I don't want to be pushing just on the drill and for that to go off 90, because that would make the hole much more difficult to drill. The core drill actually does most of the work. It pulls itself through the brick, and I'm actually really impressed with the hole that was left. I think it's really clean considering this is a 150mm hole. Now for my very first look at the extractor fan. I actually had no idea how I was going to connect this fan to the frame that I was about to build. But after seeing the clips on the side, I was able to come up with a plan. One of the best things about this project was that I could use some of the offcuts from the kitchen build to build this extractor fan hood structure. As you can see, I'm surrounded by materials, and these are all offcuts. And I'm sure this is every DIYer's dream, to be using offcuts to build something new. The fact it's moisture resistant MDF is the cherry on top of the cake. It wasn't particularly easy, but the plan is to make a picture frame. It's going to sit around the outside of the extractor fan, and it's going to be what I connect every other part of the structure to. Doing this project in the new workshop did highlight to me the importance of getting some really good extraction. This MDF dust is not nice, even though I am still using an extractor. Once I was pleased with the nice secure fit of the picture frame, I could start working on the rest of the structure. And I tried to make this really easy by cutting all of the pieces to the exact same width and length using the table saw. I like to cut this piece with pocket holes in because I've got nothing else to connect it to other than the base. I'm just hoping I've got the right size screws. These are the sort of challenges that I love. So I've made the Extractor hood box, but now this is the aesthetic part. This is the panel that will sit on the front, which will cover up everything that's going on inside and make it easily paintable. This is 9mm moisture resistant MDF, but I want to be able to access what's going on inside here once it's all in place and all painted. And there's only one way I'm going to be able to do that. I need to have this panel as almost like a clicky panel or held in place with magnets. And this is a solution I've got to overcome. And I think I've got the answer. I've decided how I'm going to connect this oak to the front of this Bespoke Extractor hood. And it's going to be the most tricky thing I've ever done in woodworking. I would explain it to you, but there's no better way of explaining it than showing it.
One thing that I've always appreciated is quality materials. This might be from growing up with my dad, who's an engineer, who's always taught me about the materials and their different properties. One material I don't get to use very often, mainly because it's so expensive, is oak. This is the exact same oak I used for the face frame of the kitchen island, which, if you haven't seen that video, is definitely worth checking out. It was the most difficult and time-consuming project I've ever done. I'm not somebody who likes to copy what other people are doing. I always like to try and find my own way, even if it makes things a little bit more difficult and take a lot longer. And here, I've decided to create a wraparound oak edging, which requires me cutting multiple different angles so that they all slot together at the end. And this is the only plank of oak that I have, so I cannot get it wrong. And I'm sure if anybody is watching who has lots of experience in woodwork, you'll see how much I have to learn with the table saw. I haven't really got much experience using these tools and I've never had a workshop before. So the plan is to experience what it's like working in this workshop and then use that experience to build out the perfect setup. I currently have no storage and no benches to work from, only my trusted Stanley workhorses, which I've used on many projects. So I'd actually really love some advice about where I can get all of the kit for my workshop from and what I should focus on getting first. This was my first time using a router table and I'd say I'd probably got it about 70% right.
We've been able to send all of these pieces of oak through the router table, which has put on a really nice decorative edge on all of this oak, which is going to be going around the top. And I've already tested these in place and they fit perfectly. And it just looks really good at this stage. But the next part is going to be the testing part. So this bit goes underneath like this and gives us a really nice solid look for this edging. But I've got to cut this. I've got to cut this on a 45 degree so it matches in perfectly on these edges. This is where things get complicated, or maybe not complicated, but just not look very good. To make this even more interesting, I've just got the lead of a pencil. Oh, this is the problem with working in a new workshop. That is what we are aiming for. It'd be nice to just skim that end.
This was very much the moment of truth. Will all of the angles come together? And how will the connections look? This is supposed to look premium. There's no point doing it if there's going to be big gaps or ugly edges. And honestly, it went together better than I could have expected. A simple mix of wood glue and using the DeWalt pin nailer to hold this all together will make it strong enough without leaving any visible connection marks.
Moment of truth. First time I've had it on the wall and it's looking amazing, especially this oak detail that I've put around here. At the height it is, you can't really see underneath, which is like the really nice bit. It gives me an idea of what it's going to look like. There's a couple of different stages left. I've got to get some 9mm on here, so that'll act as the front. It doesn't even need to really be 9mm, it could be 6. One of the issues with this whole build, which I hadn't really considered, is the size of the extraction tube. It's 150mm, and obviously we're going to have the extractor in here, and the tube is a little bit higher, which means that this connection plate might actually be in the way of where the tube is going to leave the room. So it might mean that this has to go higher up than I originally thought. And also I've got a plug socket as well that I need to consider on the wall. The only next step really is to get this home, get it in place and see how it's all going to fit. Take some measurements from the bottom here to where it meets the ceiling, and then get some panels cut and work out how to get them on the sides. So I'll be screwing them in on the sides, but on the front there'll be a clip mechanism, which means I can take that off if I need to. Last night I got the extractor fan installed in place in the house just to see how it fit, and also to get some accurate measurements for the panels that will sit on the front and the sides. Now I know that it does fit, I'm going to be oiling up the oak, and this is Rubio oil black. It's the exact same stuff I used on the kitchen island, and I'm hoping that it's going to give the exact same colour and finish, which will help it tie in with the rest of the kitchen. Let's get the oak nice and stained.
The more I use this Rubio oil, the better I get at applying it. I worked out that if I apply it with a scraper instead of the rag, I can get more over the surface without the oil soaking into the rag first. Just feels like an easier way to get more surface area out of a tin. When I was doing some research for this project, I saw that one guy in particular on YouTube used this aluminium tape to stop any moisture getting to the framework. I thought it was such a great idea, and not only that, it's going to help the brushed stainless steel of the extractor fan blend in with this framework. I decided to go with the button fixings for this front panel. This is something I came across when I was doing the kitchen island. They really are super high quality and so useful on a project like this. I'll put a link for them in the description so you can go and check them out for yourself. I think the trick with these was getting everything lined up. So I decided to install the clips first onto small panels and then use some miter adhesive on those small panels and place the big lid on top of them. This gave an absolutely perfect placement. And then to strengthen it all up, I used the pin nails again because the heads don't leave a mark on the MDF.
Can you go any higher? No.
I mean, I can, but I've got to go underneath it. But
Yeah.
I've got no control if it falls forward though.
But we're going to push it up to the ceiling. There we go.
You need more support, you need to get it on something.
Yeah, I'm going to screw it in now. Different strategy. Pass me the black drill.
Pulling.
Right, so what I'm thinking is if we push this up to the ceiling, I should be able to just bang this straight through the wood when we get it up to height, to the ceiling. Hold it there. There's one in. There's two in. Let go.
After the absolute stress of getting the extractor in place, I realised that the framework was actually cutting the plug socket off. That's why I had to remove the extractor once the hood was in place, sort the socket out, and then put the extractor back into the extractor hood. I prepped the whole thing with Zinza 123 and then painted it all with the Neptune Home slate. And the outcome was exactly what I was looking for.
Here we have it, the finished article. This is the extractor fan hood I've been working on this entire time. I'm going to show you around some of the details and you'll be able to see the thought and the effort that has gone into this project to make this beautiful standout extractor fan. To begin with, this Novy Pure line has beautiful lighting. Without it, it really wouldn't have the impact that it has had on the way the kitchen looks, but also the use we have in the kitchen. It's beautiful to use when we're cooking food because it illuminates all of the pans and everything we're using. We're not working in the dark. It also extracts away all of the smell and the steam, which is much better for the room. Some of the details of the hood, which I particularly love, is the fact that the lid can pop off the front, which means I can get inside for maintenance if needed. I love the fact that the oak looks like it's wrapping around the bottom with all of those nice little angles. I made this out of 15mm moisture resistant MDF, and I did that because I knew that this would have lots of moisture around it with it being in a kitchen, and I didn't want it to swell. Another reason why I used that moisture resistant MDF instead of a CLS is because I wanted to keep the weight down. I wanted this thing to be removable if needed, although for some reason I decided to put all of it up together with the extractor fan in. Don't know why I did that. I added a little bit of the aluminium tape on the bottom picture frame. That also stops any moisture and it helps blend the stainless steel with the actual framework itself. So I think it's those attention to details which actually makes this project just a little bit nicer. Personally, the fact that the paint matches the cabinets and the oak around the front matches the same colour of oak on the island, which is the Rubio Monocoat Black, it is an absolutely perfect addition to this kitchen.
If you've enjoyed this video or found it useful, make sure you drop me a like. And if you're not already a subscriber, make sure you subscribe. Every subscriber helps me take this journey to the next level. It means better projects and better content. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.